The views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the hosts and guests, and not necessarily those of the staff and management of WWDB-TV.
Y'all ready for this?
Booyah! We are back, coming to you 1 hour earlier. That means it is time for the 2-hour college special here at Southern Nevada Sports News. Coming to you, of course, from WWDBTV.com. My name is Bill Miller, co-host along with
Jeff Belknap.
And, of course, if it's college football time, that means it's time for our friend, the prognosticator himself, George Jorge Mish, coming to you live from Cleveland, Ohio. George, how you doing, buddy?
Live from the armpit of the United States, yes.
One man's opinion.
Yeah, that's good. And,
Wait, hold on. That's not one man's opinion.
Well, I'm just
Isaiah
speaking of...
Thomas said that.
That was the man that I was speaking about.
Oh, okay.
Was
Jeff.
IT himself, who apparently had a very slow day and didn't want to let people know where he was going for breakfast or lunch or where he just got his hair cut, and decided to remind everybody that although I was only in Cleveland for a short period of time, the place...
Very short. Matter of fact,
yeah.
they were 6-10 while he was here, so he can tell you what how good he was.
Yeah, and again, we talked about this earlier, George. It's not like this guy was there, working on, a special, construction project while he was there and had to live in maybe a hotel somewhere on the outskirts of town. And I'm sure he lived well wherever he was at. I'm sure it was nice wherever he was at. And I think that the guy's a dick. And it was a slow news cycle for him personally. So he figured he better remind everybody that he's still out there, still around, and that sort of thing. But
well, we'll find out this year, right?
Yeah, that's for sure. But folks, if you've been with us now for a number of years, we love this. Is one of our favorite shows. It is our annual college preview, and we will go through a number of conferences, not just the so-called power conferences. And I am your moderator for the show. It's not that my opinion doesn't count. It's just that I really don't put the work in that you two guys do. And to keep this 2 hours and not 3.5,
Yes.
if I were to jump in and debate and this, that, and everything else, it works out well. And so we, without further ado, gentlemen, we decided on which conferences we were going to start with. And we are going to start with the Sun Belt.
Okay.
And, we were not going to tell you anything beyond that because we want you to stick around for the entire show. But, again, like to first of all, thank you guys for being here.
Of course.
George, thank you. I mean, it's always great to have you on the show.
Always great to be here.
Yeah, but it's also, we know that, you put a lot of work into this, my man. And, it is probably, is this your favorite just in terms of like putting together your predictions?
Oh, definitely. Not even close. Yes.
Yeah, I gathered as much. I mean, we've known each other for a number of years, and
Matter of fact, it's kind of the season starts next week, and actually after that, it's just watching the games, and it's not nearly as much fun as the preseason. But in my world anyway. So.
Yeah.
But I'm ready.
Yeah, and in fact, high school football starts next Friday.
Actually, this week.
This week.
Yep.
So how many games?
There's a couple games this week. Well, there's going to be a preseason game with Faith Lutheran, I believe, and then I believe Liberty has one as well. But some of these teams are kicking right off, going right into it the first week. And then obviously, we have a really big game with Liberty next week.
Oh, yeah.
Playing AIG, so it should be pretty interesting.
Yeah, all right. All right, so folks, without further ado, we are going to hit the ground running, and we're going to start with the Sun Belt Conference. And the Sun Belt Conference falls into two groups, Group A and Group B. And gentlemen, which one of you would like to go first?
I'll take the first. I don't have it in a Group A and B. I just have the 10 ranked teams because you didn't tell me that, but that's the only way I do it. I do know there's two different groups that are going to meet at the end of the year, but I just went from 10 to 1.
That's fine.
Okay, number 10. I'm doing this a little bit different than other years. I used to babble. I'm just, if the team doesn't have really any stars, I'm just going to give the wins from last year, what I predict the wins for this year is going to be, and maybe a little extra that I'm going to throw in.
Ooh. All right.
My 10th ranked team is Texas State with Everett Withers as the coach. 61% of the players are returning to there. Last year he won 2. This year I think he can push it up to either 3 or 4, but they're still the number 10. Nothing really significant as far as I'm talking about a specific player. Number 9, Coastal Carolina with Joe Maglio. Maglia finally gets to coach. Last year when they began their trek through the big conference, he was sick, so he couldn't do it. 66% of the team returns from a 3-win team. I'm going to boost it up one more to 4 wins this year. And the quarterback will be the key to their success, whoever it is. Georgia State, number 8. They actually were in a bowl game, if I'm not mistaken, last year under Sean Elliott. 58% return. I'm dropping them down from 6 games to either 4 or 5, and we'll see how that works with them. They do have a nice receiver core that will help them trying to keep up with the Joneses. Number 7, Louisiana. I can never get that. I used to call them ULL, but they don't like that anymore. So it's just Louisiana. Bill Napier, the coach, 70% return. 5 last year, 5 this year. I'm putting them 7th. South Alabama's number 6. Steve Campbell, the coach, 71% return, and I'm going to bump them up from 4 to 5 wins. Their special teams are special, and that, although that doesn't usually mean much. Actually, it does mean much, but it doesn't get enough attention. Sorry, I missed that one. Georgia Southern coming back with Chad Lunsford, who got the temp tag taken off. 90% return. I'm jumping them from 2 up to 6. If that option starts working again like the old days, they'll be back in the Sun-Belt good graces. ULM, the number 4 team, Mike Viator, 78% return, 4 wins up to 6 for this year. The quarterback, I told Billy I was going to mention the quarterbacks if I like them. Caleb Evans, ULM quarterback. There's going to be shootouts galore, so Jeffrey, you love the over and unders. ULM will be in a lot of those overs. Troy is number 3. These next 3, actually, I could probably flip them against the wall or something and come back different every time, but I have to do it. Troy is 3rd with Neil Brown as coach. Only 52% returning. They're going to drop from 10 wins down to 8, in my opinion. Number 2, Arkansas State. I put them over Troy because of one person, Justice Hansen, the quarterback, who actually could be in the top 10 of quarterbacks this year from Arkansas State. Blake Anderson, who's 26-6 in the conference, is the coach. 62% return. I'm going to drop them or move them up from 7 up to either 8 or 9. And one of Billy's favorite teams, the Appalachian State team, Scott Setterfield, is the top team in the conference. 54% back, 8 wins up to 9. Appalachian will play Arkansas State in a rematch from the regular season, and I'm going to take Appalachian State to win the conference title.
The Giant Killers.
Wow. Okay. Well, I can hop right in and say that Texas State, Southern Alabama, Louisiana, Coastal Carolina, and, well, let me just start with those 4. Those will be the bottom 4.
Okay.
I missed the memo on ranking them.
Oh.
So I'm going to put those from 6 to 10, I guess they would be. So we'll just go up from 6. Is that all right? 7,
Okay.
8, 9. So I guess be 6 and up.
Sorry, it's the accounting of me, Jeff. That's just the way I do it.
No, that's beautiful. I just missed the memo. That's all good. No, it's
You've always been a groupie, so you group them together there.
That's well. I mean, I'm grouping teams that are like 2 to 4 wins, so it's.
Yes, I understand that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm basically saying that none of these teams have a chance. So the number 6 team, I'd probably put with Louisiana. They were in a battle with Monroe last year. Both teams ended up, I think, 6-6. We qualified for bowl games.
Louisiana, Monroe, or Lafayette?
No, just Louisiana. I guess it would be Lafayette. I guess they're Louisiana now.
Oh, okay.
I guess they dropped the Lafayette. I'm not sure how that happened.
So they would be number 6?
Be number 6. Number 5, I'd have Georgia Southern. I think I might have missed one. That'd be Georgia State, number 5. Yes, Georgia State, number 5. And I do agree with George on the top 3 teams. Obviously, I'm going to take a little bit different angle, but I do want to talk about Caleb Evans just for a minute.
Sure.
Guy averaged almost 300 yards passing a game. The team averaged almost 34 points a game. I love George's prediction about these overs, and especially when they play other teams that obviously don't run the ball.
Right.
I mean, the clock stops, as we know in college, every time there's a first down, that's great for overs. But when you have a guy that is going to be committed to throwing the ball 35, 40 times a game, that's the type of game that type of side you want to be on. So
and what I failed to mention is their defense is as bad as their offense is good. So
that's even better. That's even better.
So it's going to be an over.
Yeah, I mean, but these games, I mean, especially when they get into the league play,
right.
A lot of these teams they know each other, they know the quirks, I guess, from the team. So,
right.
And a lot of not many of these coaches really have. Teams that change coaching, So we're going to see a lot of the same thing that we saw in previous years. I do like. I'm going to rank it a little bit different. I'm going to say Troy ends up in 3rd place, and I think that's what you had as well, George.
Yes, I did.
Appalachian State wins that division. Arkansas State wins the division, but I'm going to take Arkansas State to win the whole thing.
Okay. And 4th, you have?
4th, I have Monroe.
Monroe.
Which I honestly think that Monroe is going to be a better team than people are going to give credit to. I think that this is a team that can put up points, which means that they can win games. I mean, defense wins championships, everyone says, but when you're playing these interleague games, it's basically going to be a shootout. Like who's going to be able to score more points.
Okay, so you have Appalachian State as number 1.
As a number 2.
As number 2,
yeah.
And Arkansas State as number 1.
Number 1, correct.
And in the overall winner, you have Arkansas State.
Arkansas State, yep.
Okay.
And then those other ones, you can just put 7 through 10, just X them out.
All right.
They got no shot.
Okay.
But I do also, I'll piggyback a little bit on George's thoughts about Hansen from Arkansas State. I mean, this is a good young quarterback, and what we're seeing a little bit more is these out-of-conference quarterbacks actually getting looks, which we never saw before. It was always like the major quarterbacks.
Certainly over the last few years in the draft.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely. So when you have a kid that comes out of North Dakota State and then literally is the quarterback of the future in a sense.
Or Montana. And just kind of keep going. Yeah.
So you're just kind of, when you see stuff like that happening, you have to kind of think that people's eyes are being opened to these guys just making it, and these guys are actually excelling at their level. So we'll see what happens. I mean, I definitely think Caleb Evans is someone to keep your eye on this year.
All right. Okay. All right. Next conference we have up is the MAC, Mid-American Conference.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
George's favorite.
Not really.
Well, we know SEC is.
I've drank at many of them, if that means anything, but and slept under a Christmas tree once at Bowling Green, which I have no idea how that happened. But it worked. Anyway, let's start off at number 12, and I'm still going to go from 12 to 1. Kent State, maybe the worst offense ever in the game last year. They're turning to a 31-year-old coach, Sean Lewis, who's going to pick up the pace. Unfortunately, they won 2 last year, and I still think they're going to win 2 this year. Number 11, Ball State, Mike New, last year is 82% returning. They were just injured every day. They just got screwed all the time. Nine missed games by the quarterback, 9 by the running back, 2 wide receiver, 19 by the line.
Wow.
I'm going to give them a bump up from 2 to 4 because nobody deserves that, and they have a great running back when he is. I don't remember his name right off. Gilbert, I'm sorry, who is one of the best, but he was injured too. Back to the Christmas tree in Bowling Green. 10, Mike Jinks, 72% return. It's going to be a lot of run and gun, but only 4 wins after having 2 last year, and I don't see that being much of a team either. Number 9, Central Michigan, going to take a little dip this year. Only 40% of their team returns. That's got to hurt. They had 8 wins last year. One of the bigger drops I'm putting on that down to 5 this year. EMU right next to that with Chris Creighton, 63% return. I think they're going to do just the same. 5 wins last year, 5 wins this year. Number 7, Terry Bowden in Akron. Has done a pretty good job with them, but I see them sinking down a little bit. 62% return. I'm dropping them from 7 wins down to 5 in that. They will have a good defense, though. Chuck Martin in Miami, Ohio. I picked them last year as my sleeper in this, and I got burnt because Ragland, the quarterback, got hurt. And I'm going back on that, although I only see them winning 6. But he is a super quarterback. 36 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. In his career, that's pretty damn good. And 67% return, I think 6 wins is going to come up for that. Tim Lester leads the Western Michigan team in. He has a good quarterback in Wasik, and 63% return. I'm going to put them at 7 wins after 6 last year. The Big 5, I just lost them. No, I didn't. How many do I have?
The last one I think was 5th, Western Michigan.
Oh, 5, Western Michigan. I'm sorry, I got because I changed. 4th is, and I actually had this Northern Illinois 2nd until about an hour ago, but I dropped them down. Perry, the coach, is 68% returning, dropping from 8 to 7. They haven't had a quarterback over the whole year since I was about 11, and. I remember one. I don't know. Was it last? No, I don't think last year. It's 7 quarterbacks play. That's just absolutely. But they with the MAC West in a rebuild, they could sneak in to the title game because the West has lost a lot. My sleeper, the number 3, the Buffaloes. Lance Leipold, 74% return. Here's a quarterback that I love, and it's running and passing. Tyree Jackson. It's a young team who's still young. They got 74%, as I just said. 7 or 8 wins this year compared to 6 this year, or last year. I'm sorry, and I just like their team. Number 2, Frank Solich. I think he's still living. He's 64% returning. Ohio U, number 2. I'm going to keep him at 8 for the year. Running backs and offensive line really strong with them, and this is a shaky one. Toledo at number 1. They got to find. They have 6 passes thrown by the new quarterback, so this is really a guess on this one that the running game is going to have to really come through. But I have them first. I drop them from 10 to 8 wins. And then Toledo and Ohio playing each other, and I'll stick with Toledo for now in the title game.
All right.
Okay, well, I think we should stick to that method because that actually gave me a chance to actually rank these. Yeah. So I was able to rank these. But okay, so we'll start with number 12 for me.
And my apologies on the memo.
No, that's okay. So let's rank these. I'll go number 12.
Okay.
I have Kent State. I don't think they're going to be very good. Maybe 1-2 win team. Ball State at 11. Bowling Green at 10. And then we're going to lump the 3 Michigan teams in there. First, number 9, I have Eastern Michigan. And then Central, and then Western. And then I kind of see the top of this division a little bit different than probably most. But I think that these games are going to depend on how they play and how they match up against each other. So there's no really clear cut. I mean, there's 2 teams or 3 teams to me that are like at the top tier.
Right.
But it really matters like how these games are won when they play each other head to head. But I have the number 6 team as from Akron, which we know Akron had a pretty good season last year. We're able to turn some things. I don't see them being like in the top tier necessarily right now. The number 4 team I have in Miami of Ohio.
I need number 5.
Oh, number 5. Miami of Ohio, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Is number 5. And number 4, I have Toledo.
Okay. Ooh.
And I have this is where it's really the top 4 teams. I think that any of these teams could actually pull it out. The one of the reasons why I didn't like Toledo is because George always picks them and they never win, so I don't want to like jinx any of that. But they do have the best wide receiver crew, I believe, in the league, and I think that that's going to make a huge impact, because they are a team that throws the ball a lot.
Right.
Number 3 team, I'm going with Northern Illinois.
Yeah.
And I do think that that's a team that can win the Western Division, especially with a little bit of weakness with the Michigan teams. And, with Ball State, the only team that they'll really be competing with will be Toledo. I think that favors them a little bit. My number 2 team is Buffalo.
Buffalo.
I do see Buffalo contending for that division, but, with Miami, Ohio, and Ohio, I mean, those are all, pretty decent teams. I really wanted to lean on Miami of Ohio a little bit, but there's just some factors that just aren't really, like, clicking for me, so that's why I didn't take them. And then number 1, obviously, Ohio Bobcats.
Right.
The Bobcats have been touted as one of the best defensive lines, especially in that division, but just really overall. I mean, people are looking at the whole unit that's been put together, and that's going to cause a lot of problems for a couple of these teams that run the ball a lot. So I do think that they'll be able to pull out some games. I used to love betting Ohio over. I won't be doing that this year.
And Jeffrey, by the way, just a retort, Toledo actually won the conference last year, so over Akron.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And
that's okay.
This is a technicality.
Jeff, who do you see winning that conference
I
championship?
like Ohio.
Ohio.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, you guys weren't too far off, except the one was Toledo. You basically have them for.
Well, I also said I don't. I agree, but unfortunately, I got to use stats in it. I don't believe. Well, never mind. I took them. That's just the way it goes.
That's all that really matters.
That's that. Okay. All right. The next conference up we have is Conference USA.
Beautiful. Are you ready?
I'm ready, Jorge.
14 big ones. And the worst team probably in the country, UTEP, with their new coach, Dana Dimmel, coming from Kansas State. He couldn't wait around for Snyder to retire after he just signed a new 5-year contract. Now he's going to be 83 when he retires.
Yeah, good move.
Yeah, excellent. Yes. And I see them going from 0 wins up to 2. And I'm really being charitable in this. Same with Rice. I'm going to blow through these guys. Mike Bloomberg, 70% back. I got him going from 1 up to 2 wins. Nothing exceptional. And actually, it is exceptional. Every player that plays in football, whether it's down to the Division 6 or whatever, is better than I ever did. So I commend them. But you just got to set up.
Well, you can read a playbook if you go to Rice.
Really?
Yeah, it's that kind of school.
They graduate?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Brad Lambert will lead Charlotte to a 3-win season, 80% return. In a couple of years, they're going to be good, but right now they're just getting in the mode, and I got them at number 12, Charlotte. UTSA, that's Texas San Antonio, Billy. 11th ranked, 41% return. I dropped them down from 6 to 5 wins. Frank Wilson's going to have to do a hell of a job to figure this out because the offense have nobody.
Nobody.
But they can't be that bad because they were 106 last year out of 130 teams, so they're not missing much. As much as I'd love to put Butch Davis on a pedestal, I've got him down to 10. When you only have 46% of your team coming back, he won 8 last year in a fantastic year, but I got him dropping to 5 and in the 10th spot.
Butch Davis, coach of
Florida International.
Help me out, thank you. Appreciate that.
What'd you think, North Carolina?
No, not that far gone.
Cleveland Browns?
Yeah.
Last time they won a playoff game, or we're in a playoff, I'm sorry. All right, Western Kentucky has Mike Sanford going, and I got them 9th. Losing White, the quarterback, is just a kick in the butt, and I dropped them to 5 or 6 wins. So he had 6 last year. They're going to push it to even do that this year. ODU is number 8. Bobby Wilder at returning team. The interesting part of this team, the kid that is, how old do you think this kid is a quarterback? He was 17 last year as a freshman, starting quarterback.
Wow.
Now he's 18. He can, like, there's no more 3-2 beer, is there? Now I'm showing age. 80% return, 5.5 to 5 to 6 wins for Bobby Wilder. Southern Miss, Jay Hobson, only 42% returning. I had them 7th and to win between about 5 or 6 games. I always put them as a sleeper, but I got them only. I got a little smart and pushed them down to 6th this year. Middle Tennessee State. Rick Stockstill, the coach, he's only 5 coaches has been at their school longer, and his son is probably, I swear he's been there about 11 years, but that's not the case. He's back for his last time. He's been injured so much it's ridiculous, but I got them winning 6 to 7 games. If the quarterback is on when he's playing, they're a super team, but he doesn't stay around very long. The fun team from last year, I got him 5th, Bill Clark and UAB. Great story that was, coming back off of...
From the dead.
Yes, a dead that never needed to happen if you really look into it, but it did. 74% coming back. I'm going to drop them down from 8 to 7 just because I think they'll have a little bullseye on their back, and you'll know UAB is coming for you when you play them this year. Excuse me. La Tech is 4th with Skip Holtz, 75% back. I'm going to push him up from 6 to 7. That's basically what they do. They play about 7 wins every year since forever, and they should be right at that 7. Number 3, I have I love him. North Texas State.
Wow.
Number 3, Seth Luttrell. Quarterback Mason Fine, and his receivers and special teams, you're going to love him. I'd love to put him 1. I moved him up a couple spots, but I just can't put him ahead of the 2 that I'm about to mention, but I'm going to put him at about 8 wins for the year. Number 2, the resurgence of Marshall continues. Doc Holliday going to push up to 8 wins if he can find a replacement for Litton as quarterback. He's got everything else in place to be dynamite and retake the Cougar League. I got them with 8 wins. Unfortunately, Mr. Kiffin still has the front porch. He's done fantastic down there. 73% returning, and I got him to win 9. I don't. For a small school like FAU, maybe not a small school, but a Singletary, the running back, boy, I'd like to see him how early he's going to go in the draft because he's very, very good. And that's about it for that. Mm-hmm. What do we have here? Marshall, and I got FAU to win the title.
All right.
There you go.
Okay.
Should be pretty easy. Okay, so I'll just roll through the bottom ones really quick. I have 14. I have Charlotte. I think that UTEP's going to get off the snide and win a couple games. I think they're both going to be literally the worst teams in the league, but those 2 things. I do want to give a shout-out to Will Hernandez, got drafted by the Giants out of UTEP, Chaparral High School alumni. So we got another Vegas
guy,
player
yeah.
in the NFL. So shout-out to Will Hernandez.
Well done.
So I have 14, 13, 12. I have Rice, and those literally could be the bottom feeders. Those are, could be switched anyway. Next one, I have Southern Miss. I just really haven't been surprised with, excited too much about Southern Miss. They're always a team that kind of wins that, needs that last game to get into a bowl game. I kind of see them maybe possibly dipping a little bit. Between them, Texas, San Antonio, and Florida International are kind of all in that same mix, I believe. So I have them at 11, Texas, San Antonio at 10, FIU at 9, and then Western Kentucky at number 8. They have a nice young quarterback that's coming in this year, and our guy from Liberty was literally being scouted to play quarterback there. But he got pulled by UNLV. His dad and parents and everything wanted him to stay here. So I might be butchering his name, but Katerius Thomas is this kid's name.
Okay.
And I saw a little bit of film in him on Huddle. One of the advantages to having Twitter is that you can watch these guys huddle, because a lot of them will post it on during their high school year, so it's great to watch.
Right now, Jeff, I'm just looking at the Steel magazine. I know this was early June when he put it up, but they have him as a fourth string right now at this moment.
I don't be surprised if this guy gets some action.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, especially with when they start not winning games, I guess is the best way to put it. From there, I have ODU and Middle Tennessee State, which I both think are going to be mid-tier teams at best. Number 5 in the conference, I have UAB with our friend from Pro Kick, Joel Dixon.
Yep.
I'd love to see that guy do well. Number 4, I have La Tech.
La Tech.
Which we know that they are a team that likes to put up points and score, and usually has the Ole defense. You heard of that before?
Matador defense.
The Matador defense, yeah. So that they often have to score a lot of points in order to win games. But these last 3 teams are obviously make this division very top-heavy. The number 1 team obviously is going to blow everyone away. But I really like to see what's going to happen between North Texas and Marshall. I agree with Georgia 100% that Marshall is going to be an up-and-coming team. They are ranked as far as the league goes as the top in almost every single category, from running backs to the O-line, D-line, and defensive backs. So I am going to put them as third.
Marshall
as third, and I'm going to take North Texas, the defending champion of their division, to win again the West Division. And then obviously
Florida Atlantic.
Yeah, Devin Singletary, quarterback for Florida Atlantic, is they're going to make some stuff happen. They're also returning DeAndre Johnson. DeAndre Johnson's a quarterback. Did I get that wrong?
Singletary's a running back.
Yeah, there you go. That's what it was. So DeAndre Johnson's a quarterback. Singletary's the running back. Mm-hmm. These guys are both going to be stars. And what we've seen in the past maybe 2 to 3 years is these other Florida teams getting these high-end players. Where it used to be Florida and Florida State got them all. Now they're being spread out between some of these other schools with South Florida, Central Florida, and Florida Atlantic. Kiffin is a great guy at recruiting. No one can ever argue with that. Coaching was usually the question. But he pulled my all-time favorite coaching move last year when he ran out of the end zone to cause a safety and to mess up the spread in Las Vegas. That was literally one of my favorite all-time moves. I was actually on the side. I was on the other side that day, so they were actually covering that at that point until he ran out of the end zone. And I won my money. So yeah, I really appreciate that.
I think the guy is. I think he's happy more than anything. Where he was before, there was just so much pressure.
Yeah.
I mean,
Did he sign for 10 years too?
I'm not sure, but I would like to think that that FAU would try to lock him up. But I think that, again, these contracts they're I hate to say this, but they're only worth the paper they're written on. Buyout clauses galore are there. Looking at you guys' picks from 1 through 6, with the exception of the Marshall and North Texas, you guys both have the same picks.
Exactly the same?
Yeah.
Wait, I should let him go first and then copy mine.
6, you had Middle Tennessee. 5th, you both had UAB. 4th, let's see, you both had Louisiana Tech. You picked, George picked North Texas at 3rd. You picked Marshall at 3rd. And then from there, number 1, you have Florida Atlantic. And so, listen, guys, well done.
We're both stupid, or we're
I didn't say that.
No, I mean we'll tell it in December. It's not, it's.
Well, what we're going to do here, folks, we're going to take just a few minute break here, and then when we come back, we're going to jump into the next conference, which in this case is going to be the AAC, the American Athletic Conference. Southern Nevada Sports News coming to you from WWDBTV.com. We'll be right back.
Crazy Terry here with your car care tip of the day. Today's tips on cooling systems. This vehicle's got about 182,000 miles on it, so if you're checking the coolant, check the hoses too. Just feel them and see if they're soft or any signs of fatigue for the mileage on it. They don't feel bad. They look like they're still the original hose, but you want to make sure you don't go too long with these hoses because they will eventually deteriorate, cause a problem. In this case, this car's got a visible leak. The customer brought it to us. We'll pop the hood and check the cooling system. First, we just relieve any pressure might be on the cap, remove the cap, take a look inside. We see it's kind of low. Now we'll start our inspection. What we found on this one is the top tank is leaking. It's got a crack in it. Pretty common for these plastic radiators to do that. We want to get to a shop right away because severe engine damage can result from overheating condition like this. In this case, it was pretty easy to see the crack was right on the top tank, but a lot of times we'll have to pressurize the system to locate the exact leak. Could be a hose in the back, could be underneath. Some of these are hard to find, but in this case, a very common leak, the top tank. When we're testing a cooling system, it's okay to use just water, but you want to make sure when you're filling it up properly, it's a 50-50 mix of antifreeze and water. It needs the water to make the chemical work, so don't just put straight antifreeze. 50-50 mix is the best way to go. Keep it clean, keep it rust-free. So as you can see, we got a pretty active leak. You got to get this fixed or there's going to be some engine problems. If you're going to top off your own coolant, it's really not that hard. If you got a radiator cap, just make sure it's not hot. Take the cap off and take a look. In this case, we're pretty full here, but what we have is the overflow jugs empty. So we'll just add that. Once again, check your manufacturer's specs to make sure what type of coolant you have. In this case, we're using the good old green. There's gold, there's red, there's yellow, all types out there. Just want to make sure you're staying with your manufacturer recommended coolant. And that's really all there is to it. The cooling system is a major component. You'll want to service that regularly. If you have a problem, it could be too late and cost you thousands of dollars. If ever you have a problem, come into Sun Valley Automotive. It's no charge to look at your cooling system. This is Crazy Terry with your car care tip of the day.
Booyah! We are back. Round two. Southern Nevada Sports News coming to you from WWDBTV.com. My name is Bill Miller, co-host along with
Jeff Belknap.
And with us on the line, the prognosticator himself, our buddy from Cleveland, Ohio, George Jorge Mish. George, how you doing, buddy?
Lane Kiffin, 10-year contract.
10-year contract.
Beautiful.
Wow.
June 22nd, my birthday.
That means that I guarantee you next year he'll be gone.
Well, do you think he'll get picked up somewhere? Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. They'll come a call. And,
Ohio
and again,
State.
yeah, but he's not going to be there 3 years, yet alone 10. So, but I mean, I wish he would probably just stay there for 4 or 5, really settle down, really settle into the program. But I think that you know how college coaches, in terms of universities, are with regard to these guys jumping ship, paying their payout costs. And it's kind of a mess. But at any rate, I wish him the very best of luck. I think he's not a bad guy. I think that he just had made some bad decisions along the way.
Yep.
All right, then we are back in the mix, and it is time for the American Athletic Conference, the AAC. Jorge.
Eastern Carolina and Scotty Montgomery, number 12. Less than half of his players are returning. Doesn't really matter. They won 3 with him. They're going to win 3 without him. The number 12. Number 11, UConn, who's losing. I just was reading today. They've lost 2 more players to injury. Randy Edsel in his comeback to Connecticut is my 11th team. They won 3, and they are going to win 3 again. They could be decent in 19 or 20, but they're real young. Tulsa, maybe the last year for Philip Montgomery if he doesn't get the pass attack back. They're 10th. For me, I'm used to Tulsa winning 8 or 9. They won 2 last year, and I can't put them past 4 this year. So Tulsa, number 10 with 4 wins. Former Ohio State coach and player Luke Fickell. Number 9 was Cincinnati. Cincinnati used to be so good, and they're just paddling up the stream without the paddle issues. And they won 4 last year, I think maybe 5 at most this year. They haven't decided on a quarterback yet, and they got to do something different. but I got them at 9. 8, just keep moving up. Willie Fritz, one of my favorite coaches, never turned down a run in his life. Number 8, I see them going up to about 6 wins this year. He will eventually win there. It's just going to take him a while to get the running game going to where it used to be.
Willie Fritz, coach of
Tulane.
Tulane, thank you.
Tulane Highway. All right, SMU will go from a fast offense to a faster offense. Sonny Dykes is coming over, and if the bowl game is anything like the 51-10 loss when he took over last year, I hope he does better than that. 69% return. I'm dropping him from 7 to 6, but he has a man named Hicks who has 6,500 yards and 52 touchdowns before Dykes comes in with a faster offense. Ooh-wee. The only problem is the defense is 121st. So we'll see what happens. The air raid will be in order. Another over for you there, Jeffrey.
Yes, sir.
Temple will be just the opposite. They are slower and slowest. But Jeff Collins does win 6 or 7 every year, and he's my 6th-rated team. They play the defense all the time. Number 5, Navy with Ken. I'll just call him KN because I'm not going to tackle that name. I know you know it. 48% back. It doesn't matter in the Naval Academy or the Army or something. You got your Malcolm Perry at quarterback. They will beat Army this year, and they're going to win 7.
Nice.
At number 5. Number 4, Houston with Major Applewhite. He won 7 last year. He has 8 this year. Derek King, once he became the quarterback mid-season or early season, it really sparked the offense, and he's there the whole year. And I think Jeffrey would agree with that. Oliver on the defensive line may be the number 1 pick with Boza or something, but that should be very interesting to watch him. Surprise, I put number 3 because they lost 1 million people. 46% return from Charlie Strong's USF team. I think this is the year that everybody gets back on the Strong bandwagon, even without Flowers, which is going to be devastating. But they have young kids. It just depends if they mature faster than people think. I think you're going to get 9 wins, just like last year, and finish 3rd in the conference. The one that I don't like, yet I'm taking, I don't know why, is Ferguson being gone from Memphis. I'm taking the loss of Ferguson and Miller, who's the wide receiver, not you, Bill, is devastating, but I still have them winning 9 and coming in 2nd and winning their side of the bracket. Memphis number 2, and then number 1 still, although that bullseye will be on everybody. For everybody on UCF, Mackenzie, Milton and company. I don't see them winning what they did last year, but they can easily pull off a 10 with Josh Heupel, pardon me. In there, they'll have a top 10 offense again, and it's going to be very interesting. Number 1, UCF.
I thought South Florida was
South Florida was number 3.
South Florida was number 3. I'm sorry.
UCF, Central Florida.
Got it.
Number 1.
Got it. And and UCF winning the conference.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
The bottom of our conference, as I was listening to him, are literally almost the same. But I'll rattle them off anyway. I have Eastern Carolina in 12th, 2-win team. UConn, 3-win team. Tulsa, 4-win team. And the thing about Tulsa is they're a ball control team that gives up 37.5 points a game. That's not really good.
That means their defense is.
That means their plan is to run the ball and do everything.
Yeah.
But their defense gives up 37 points a game. So it kind of defeats the purpose of playing that way. But one of my teams that I always look to go over because they do give up a lot of points, especially when they're playing better offensive teams. Number 9, I do see them winning 3 to 4 games though. Tulsa, Cincinnati, number 9, with winning 4 games. Number 8, I have Tulane winning somewhere between 5 and 6 games. Number 7, SMU, which I think is still a team that can qualify for a bowl. Ben Hicks, good quarterback. He's going to be slinging the ball around a lot. But as George mentioned, a team that gave up almost 37 points a game and over 200 yards rushing on an average.
Wow.
So, I mean, when you're in a conference where people run the ball, that's not really a good stat that you want to have, with SMU. I have number 6, I have Temple, which just is kind of a flip-flop between Temple and Houston. But I'm going to put Temple as number 6 and Houston at number 5. Houston's got a couple of transfers that came through for them. I think that's going to help. I don't think that's going to, win them the division or anything, but it is going to bring some just notoriety. And then we have the top 4, obviously. Those are always the ones that we, are always going to be a challenge. All of these teams, I believe, will win at least 8 games.
Ooh.
So when you really look at this conference, you're talking about, 6 to 7 teams that can actually qualify for bowl games out of this conference. But I'm going to go with Navy on a number 4. Obviously, they have a lot to play for every year. They will be a better team. They will be able to compete in some of the games that they normally get blown out.
Right.
Not a fun team to watch at all. Unless you're just expecting just to watch teams run the ball and pound the ball. It's not going to be where a quarterback gets under center and starts slinging the ball around. But number 3, I have at South Florida.
Okay.
USF.
South Florida.
South Florida.
Right.
Number 2, I'm going to go with Central Florida.
Okay.
Mackenzie Milton's coming back. Obviously, they got a big chip on their shoulder coming off the 13-0 season.
Oh, yeah.
The only reason I really bumped them down is because, when you lose your head coach, it kind of does something. And I do think that this team will win at least 8 games, possibly even 10 games. But I think there's going to be a little dip, especially in the important games.
Right.
One of the most explosive games and really fun games to watch last year was UCF in Memphis. And
that was a great game.
Yeah, and it was really fun just to watch that game. And I think that they're going to have they're not going to forget that game very easily, Memphis. And I am going to take them to win the division and win the conference as well. They have wide receivers coming back. They have Brady White coming in as quarterback under center. There's just a lot of stuff in Memphis, and I just think that they have a lot of reasons to win.
Yeah.
I think that's the key thing. And, with having a lot of – they don't exactly have a lot of their team coming back, but they have some really core players with a couple of transfers. And we'll see if Brady White can pull this team together, and it's going to be the biggest thing.
All right. Very good. All right, gents. Next conference up, we have Local Boys Make Good. Mountain West Conference.
I'm turning my fan off. Okay. The Mountain West with 12 strong teams. Not quite, but Brent Brennan and his San Jose Staters won 2 last year, win 2 this year. The sad thing is, I wrote it down. I don't know, it's pathetic, but I wrote it. They have an attendance of 85,000 in their 6 home games. 13 schools average that per game.
Yeah, we had, I think we even mentioned that last year, that I thought that there was an attendance threshold before that you were actually relegated down to Division II. If I'm not mistaken. They have got to be on the cusp of that.
I remember Temple when I was younger was getting close, but they pulled it up and stuff. But that's not a lot of people.
No, it's not.
And that's number 12 anyway. Number 11, on the islands of Hawaii, Nick Rolovich, 38% only return. I think that may be the lowest. And they're starting from scratch again. So I'm going to put them at 11th, winning about 4 games. Number 10, New Mexico. Mr. Davey having a little. He was suspended earlier for a month, but they have some turmoil out there, and this may be it for him. It's the run is still going to be his weapon, and it's what he should be doing. And I got them winning 4 games. Air Force with Troy Calhoun, 62% back. Winning 5, losing 5. Wortham at quarterback is the real deal in Air Force's system, and how he goes is how Air Force goes. 22-0 when they run for 400. Less than 300, they're 0-6. So there's not much.
Night and day.
Yeah, exactly.
Mr. Family.
The next two teams are from your region of the world. Number 8, I got Nevada. Jay Norville coming out. Offense is going to be fine. Defense is a little bit shaky as always. The shootouts will be very possible here, and I got them with either 5 or 6 wins. The Vegas team, yes, they're going bowling this year. I got them to win 6 games. Tony Sanchez getting up there. Rogers and his running backs should dominate the offense, but their defense has been bad forever, and I don't see it getting much better, although 16 of 20 return, and they got a S-load of JUCOs coming in, but I haven't seen, even when I lived out there, they couldn't do anything. And I hope they'll get a little bit better, but they'll go bowling this year and then keep getting better as it goes along. I got Colorado State with Bobo, who's ill right now. At 6th, I got them winning 6 games. They lost everything in the offense. The defense is going to have to pick it up, so this may be a too high of a prediction. Probably, maybe, not probably, but maybe UNLV should be 6 instead of these guys.
I hope so.
Okay, all right. You hope so. Okay, Utah State with Matt Wells. Defense, and then some more of that, and win the close games, and they'll be fine. They have 8 straight losses on close games, which is really kind of tough to take. They'll be strong on defense, as I said. I'm going to take them to win 7. And then comes the boys from Wyoming. This is the case with Craig Bowl, by the way, 78% return, and they lost a quarterback that somebody else likes.
It's not that good.
And I wrote losing Allen, a quarterback, not that bad because it was lousy anyway. 177 yards and 56% doesn't do me really a lot of goal, but they still have they have 4 different strengths: defensive line, linebacker, defensive back, and special teams. Guess what they're good at? They can stop people, and that's why I'm picking them to win 7 and finishing 4th in the Mountain West. Fresno, I'd like to put them higher than 3rd, but at least I'm going to give Jeff Tedford some super. Go from 11 losses to 10 wins in one year. That is solid.
That is.
And most of everybody is back. Marcus McMarion. We're going to lead them at least to 3rd place, and I got them to win 8th. San Diego State. Rocky Long just keeps doing his thing. He's got another runner to replace Penny, and he's averaging 7-8 yards a carry. Washington, I guess, is his name. The quarterback, I don't have a clue what his name is, but the only reason he's out there is to not make mistakes and just run the machine. Run. Defense went down all the way to 38th last year, and that's not good with the Long. So he'll get that taken together, and they'll win 9 and finish 2nd behind the Boise's with Brian Harson. Rippon should be his best year. He had a little down year last year, but I don't see that happening this year. I just think they're going to be tremendous, and 71% return and 10 wins for Boise, and they'll win the conference title there.
All right.
I think it's exactly the same. You just want to copy it over? No, I'm just kidding. So obviously San Jose State is going to be the 12. I mean, I was just while George was talking, I was actually looking at UNLV's schedule to see like where they're at, but we'll get to UNLV. 2nd, New Mexico State, arguably probably the worst team in this conference. Maybe a 1-2 game winner.
Just New Mexico.
New Mexico, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Davey will probably be fired at the end of this year, especially if he has another season like last year, but we'll see. Hawaii, I have as number 10. I don't know if there's really not a whole lot to say. UNR in their forever rebuilding that they've been doing. They've pretty much been junk except for beating UNLV. Is it the game that they've all been able to come together to play?
Oh yeah.
But that being said, a lot of high school kids are choosing to go to UNR from Vegas.
Yeah.
We had 3 or 4 kids that actually signed and went up there this year, so we'll see if that makes a difference. It kind of, I get mixed feelings when that happens because I'm not really a Reno fan, but I want to root for these kids, so that's how it goes. So number 8.
Can I ask both of you a dumb question? Because I lived there for 7 years in Vegas, or maybe longer, I don't know. Is Reno any more or cooler than Las Vegas?
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Okay,
it's
you're mentioning why they're going there instead of that. Me and Billy took in a practice when they were down by Maryland Parkway the one time we were there. Remember, Bill?
Oh yeah.
And I don't care if I was the best player in the world. I'm not playing in that environment. That's too damn hot. I'm sorry.
Hell
That's-
yeah.
Yeah. It is.
It's
It's
a little
hot.
brutal.
Yeah, and even UNLV, they go up to, I think it's Ely,
Yeah,
and spend a week up there
right.
practicing just to kind of get away from some of the heat.
Well, you say that now, George, but when Raiders Stadium is built, we're not going to have any problems recruiting
Well,
people
that's,
to play
I'm
in
just
a $2
saying
billion
now, but
stadium.
it's not built yet, or it's being built, right? It's
Yeah, you'd
not
be
there
shocked.
yet.
I mean, have you seen any of the recent pictures?
No, I
I try
haven't
not.
even
Yeah, so
driven that
the
far
foundation
south.
is actually built right now, so they're actually starting to put the steel up.
Up around it.
Yeah, so it's
Well, Bill told me you promised you would give me a tour into this inside there when I get
absolutely,
there.
man. We'll just break in after hours, no problem, man.
Wonderful, wonderful. That's another jail I haven't been to yet. Oh boy.
Okay, so number 7, I have Colorado State, and Colorado State probably one of the most disappointing teams last year. I really honestly thought that they were going to be better. They just kind of just gave games away. They gave the UNLV game away, which is one of the games that I went to last year, and it was comical to watch because they fumbled the ball going into the end zone twice. Colorado State did.
Jeez.
And I, of course, bet Colorado State because I didn't think UNLV was that good. And UNLV
They really
lost
weren't.
the game. Or no, they won the game, but barely. They didn't cover the game. I know that for sure.
Right.
Because I left early because that's usually what I do when I'm losing. So the next one I have Utah State. And Utah State this is a bowl contending team. Possibly 7-win team. 7-8 wins. Colorado State I have anywhere from 6 to 7 wins.
And you have them as your number 6.
Utah State is my 6th team. My number 5 team, UNLV.
Okay.
We're going over 500 this year. So I'm looking at their schedule. Obviously, they play USC in the opening week. It's going to be difficult. But then they play UTEP, Prairie View, and then they're probably going to lose. They're going to go to Arkansas State and probably get handled pretty easily. They come home, though, and play New Mexico. Then they play at Utah State, going to be a difficult game. But then they have Air Force at home, San Jose State. Then they finish up pretty tough with the last 2 of the last 4 games are Fresno, San Diego State, both losses, Hawaii, and then they play Reno. Do the math on that. If they can get one of those, squeak out just one of those games, they can win 7 games.
They
this
could
year.
be. I think that's. I'm really hoping.
But
I really do.
But I really do feel, and like George said, that they are going bowling this year.
Yeah.
I do think this would be a turnaround because if they can show that they can compete in this division, it's going to be huge. Arguably, probably one of the better backfields in the division. But we'll get to the rest of the backfields from there. I do like Wyoming just because of the fact that they got so many players coming back. Probably the best quarterback drafted in the draft left there, you know. I'm just kidding, George. I'm just throwing a rib. But
No, you said it last year. Stick with it.
no, I'm gonna stick with it. I have no problem saying that because when this guy hits the field, first of all, he's going to be playing with guys that are better than what he played on in Wyoming. And some of the
Okay. All right.
some of the stuff that I saw is like, he throws the ball so hard that he's able to throw balls on the line that a lot of NFL players quarterbacks can't do that. They can't throw these like rips across the field that are on a rope. So then of course the top 3 teams, again, top heavy division. Fresno State, I'm gonna put it in number 3. I like their D-line. I like what they're doing with their offense. They're arguably one of the better offensive teams in the division. Boise State is obviously the best team, but I think Fresno is going to make some waves, and they're going to make it. They're going to put a little bit of pressure on San Diego State. Number 2, I have San Diego State. Jawan Washington, the running back. I'm looking forward to seeing this guy. Think about what San Diego State has done. This is very not common. 2 years ago, put their running back in the NFL. Last year, first-round draft pick in the NFL, San Diego State.
Yeah.
So with Rashad Penny, I'm telling you right now, this guy is completely flying under the radar. This is for all you fantasy football fans. If you can pick up this guy, just put him on your bench. He'll be starting within a few weeks. This guy's going to score touchdowns. He's an explosive runner. I love watching Rashad Penny play.
And he should be back by, they just announced that they're predicting, because he broke his finger, he'll be back most probably the first game of the year.
Oh, absolutely. And then, obviously, number one, quarterback, Boise State with quarterback, what is it, Brett Rippon? Okay. Is there a quarterback?
Son of Mark?
I don't know if it's son of Mark. Do you know the answer to that? George, you know the answer to that?
I believe so, but, I never can tell.
Well, let's say it is, because that's the only Rippon that we know, right?
I'm afraid so.
But Milshawn, young man from Faith Lutheran,
right,
plays on the offensive line there. I've tried to get him on the show. I know his dad, John. I've tried to get him on the show a few different times. He hasn't been able to do it. He did invite us to the pro day. He said if we made it over, to the media day in the Las Vegas Bowl last year. I couldn't make it over there, but he said he would take the time to give us an interview, and I couldn't make it. So Boise State that wins that division, with 11 wins, by the way.
And they win the conference.
And the conference.
All right. 11 wins.
11 wins.
So Boise State is back.
I think that they're going to be, by the end of the year, pushing into the top 15 by the end of the year.
So they'll be at a major bowl.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, listen.
His nephew.
It's his nephew. Okay.
Nephew. Okay, that's close enough.
All right. The only reason I say that is because I know that while Mark was playing, he had a son that had, I think it was either cystic fibrosis or something like that.
The old man tried to commit suicide.
Did he really?
Yes.
Wow.
Oh, geez. No pressure.
Yeah, none.
You want to do these quick independents to get to the last five before the top of the hour, or you?
No, I think we're doing okay. So we're right at the top of the hour. So we're going to take a couple of minute break, and then we'll come back, and then we'll get into the to the final hour.
Okay.
All right, gents. Okay, we're going to be right back. Southern Nevada Sports Southern Nevada Sports News coming to you from WWDBTV.com. We'll be right back.
The golf store you've been waiting for is now open. Bob Allen Golf is ready to help you take your game to the next level. Bob Allen Golf is located at 6415 South Fort Apache, Las Vegas 89148. Choose your favorite clubs from our selection of Bridgestone, Callaway, Cleveland, XXIO, Srixon, Ping, Wilson, and more. We'll custom fit them in our state-of-the-art full-swing golf simulator. Come hang out with us and practice on our putting green to find out which club is perfect for you. Have your clubs repaired, reshafted, and regripped in our on-site tour shop. And talk about accessories. Guys and gals will feel comfortable and look sharp in the many sizes, colors, and options of apparel from Greg Norman, Black Clover, Under Armour, and more. The team at Bob Allen Golf takes your game as seriously as you do. Join our online family at BobAllenGolf.com and stop in the store to meet us. Remember, at Bob Allen Golf, your game is in the bag.
And we're back for round 3. Southern Nevada Sports News coming to you from WWDBTV.com. I am still Bill Miller, co-host along with
Jeff Belknap.
And, of course, he is also still there, he being...
Yes, I am. I'm done. I get everything. I was brewing over my problem today. I went to a psychiatrist, and I said I wanted to commit suicide. Now I got to pay in advance.
Oh!
All
Is this
right,
thing on? Oh.
I had to make you laugh once today. Thanks to Mr. Rodney.
Well, we could all use that, that's for sure.
That's right. Independent.
Indies.
Here we go. We're starting off with the newbies. Liberty. Never heard this in my life before, but Liberty is actually playing a home and away series in the regular season against New Mexico State. That's I'm not talking about a game in a bowl. I'm talking home and away during the season. They play the same team twice. Never heard that in my life.
Yeah, that seems okay.
And they're still going to win 4 games though, because they have a few still of the Division II, whatever you want to call them, lagging around. So they'll still win something. That's all I'm going to say about Turner Gill and his team out in where the hell did I say? Liberty.
Turner Gill.
Okay, New Mexico State with Doug Martin. Doug has lost his security blanket. Rogers was his quarterback. I think he'll drop down from 6 wins to 5 just because of that. But that was nice to see them finally win, and they for their reward they got booted out of the conference. So that's wonderful. This is my little fetish team, UMass. I love him, Mark Whipple. They have a quarterback named Andrew Ford who can wing it with the best. I don't know if he could do it with the powerhouses, but he certainly can do it. 22 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and I got them winning 6 and hopefully going to a bowl, and I'll watch it from the start to finish. BYU is in the opposite situation. Is it Sakati? Sadaki? The coach for BYU is maybe they should have kept Mr. Mendenthal.
Old Bronco.
They didn't realize how good this is. They might get to 5 wins this year, and last year they set a new record. They actually played. I can't make this up. I have it written. 9 quarterbacks.
9 quarter. Wow.
Yeah, and none of them obviously kept it, except the guy in the last game. All right. Army's number 2. Mr. Monken is just doing a fantastic job over there, but for the first time in this year or century or whatever, Bradshaw won't be with Army. I'm going to drop them down to 7 and give Navy the win in the end of the season game. And then the number 1, and this is all based. I got them winning 9 games. It's all based on Wimbush, the quarterback. The scary thing about this is that they're counting on him to be a good passer, and he was 49% last year. I think you got to go up a little bit with the schedule they had. But so, needless to say, he's the guy that actually he will make or break this team, and because they play in September and October, they're fantastic. But in November, they're 9 and 12 when the meat of the schedule comes in. So in the last few years, so Brian Kelly has 9 wins from Notre Dame, and that's it for the Indies.
All right, JB.
Whew. Well, I think we're pretty close to exactly the same. Liberty. I don't really even look too much into them. You know, I often think, like, why can't they get picked up in some division?
Some conference, yeah.
It seems like that because of where they're located, it seems like that they could fit into a lot of places.
Yeah.
But why they still remain independent, I have no idea. But so I have them as 6. We just got 1 through 6. New Mexico State, terrible team. Both of those teams, are basically 2-3 win teams. UMass, I didn't even know they played football still in UMass. I thought they were just a basketball team.
And hockey.
Okay.
Yeah, in hockey,
well,
that's true.
You got to get out of that shell, buddy.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I agree. Number 3, I have BYU. BYU played a bunch of games last year where they really couldn't get out of their own way.
Right.
It kind of felt like that they were going to be competitive in the first couple series, and then they would just go on 2-3 series where they would play like garbage, either one way or the other, either defensively or offensively. So hopefully they'll get it together and win a few more games this year, but I don't see them like being a bowl eligible team. Army, I think, is the only team that I've ever seen to win a game without throwing a pass.
Yeah.
Which is always impressive to me, but not fun to watch. I mean, if you want to watch that, there's a couple teams in Vegas that I could send you to. They're just as boring to watch. So, and then obviously Notre Dame. I mean, probably arguably a team that's in the top 10 or 15 riding through most of the season.
Yeah.
They don't really ever back down off their schedule, which is why they continue to be up there. So I think we were pretty much the same on that one, weren't we?
Exactly
the
same.
same.
Yeah.
So yeah, the independence, I never was a really big fan of that. I really feel like the teams and players more than that should have the opportunity to play for a conference title to win something. I guess it is.
I think so too. I mean, you always have those big rivalry games, and with Notre Dame, it's USC.
Yeah.
And the service academies. Those are the traditional games.
So they'll give up their own TV station basically to go to a conference.
Are you talking about Notre Dame?
Yeah.
No, that'll never happen.
Okay.
I mean, since I was a little kid, I will always remember Notre Dame always being on TV.
Yeah.
no matter what, you can flip through that station
They're
and
gonna be on
8 or
TV.
13, they're definitely going to be on TV.
Yep. Yeah, and but again, I think that I think you touched on something. I think that these guys, but you make a conscious decision to go to these schools.
Yeah.
So nobody is dragging you off, kicking and screaming.
Yep.
And of course, Notre Dame is Notre Dame, and it's certainly not going to if you manage to somehow get a degree from there, it's certainly not going to hurt you in life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then we have Nico Fertitta.
Yeah.
Of the Fertitta
of
family.
the Fertittas.
Station
casinos for you folks.
Yeah, for the other people. But he's going to get a lot more playing time this year. Obviously, Bishop Gorman, player. So, kind of be good to root for a guy like that. Just not in particular games.
Yeah, that's for sure.
All right, we got 5 to go, right?
I got your back though against USC, Nico. So yeah,
there you go.
Do your damage. All right, we are home now to the Pac-12.
Yes. I'm not putting your guys down for 1, but I'll go to 12 with Oregon State. Jonathan Smith comes into a mess. He quarterbacked them into prominence way back when, but he may get them up to 3 wins this year. I got them 12th. Colorado has a great quarterback in Steven Montez. That's about it. I think they'll manage to win 5 for Mike McIntyre, but Colorado 11th. Herm Edwards. How'd that happen? But let's not go into that. I have no idea what's going to happen. He did recruit wonderfully after being late getting in there, but I got him at 10th, and 5 to 6 wins is the best I can see for him. Manny Wilkins helps him at least have some firepower on the offense at quarterback. Number 9, the Bruins with Chip Kelly. Billy, sorry. This is a guy that's 33-3 in the Pac-12, 46-7 at Oregon, and Chip will right the ship, but he's going to have to get his own players in there, and I don't think he has that at this moment. But as we've talked about, Bill, I think next year you should be hopping around like a little gazelle.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree with you more.
I give him 6 wins, and send me a picture of you hopping, because that would be a treat. That's number 9. At number 8, California, Justin Wilcox, one of the under the radar better coaches that is bringing this team back to being a happening or whatever. They did lose Robertson, their best wide receiver, when he transferred to Georgia, and mysteriously he was granted immediate hardship so he could play at Georgia this year. But let's not go into that. I have California at about 6 to 7 wins, and ranked number 8. Washington State, they pulled out a quarterback. They had none after I believe the gentleman, second string quarterback, committed suicide. That's just horrendous.
Yeah.
They lost Falk, but now they got this Gardner Minshew, who actually went to Alabama for about a minute and a half, and then he said, "Nah, I think I'll go to Washington State." And he's now their quarterback, so they won't miss much of a step with them. I got them winning 7 and being ranked number 7. Utah, loaded with juniors and sophomores, but it's just efficient, the offense. They're a time of possession, offense. Number 6, the defense is still the top-notch in special teams. But Tyler Hundley, the quarterback, is good at what he does, which is keep the ball in their hands. 7.5 to 8 wins, or 7 to 8 wins, and ranked number 6. Number 5, Khalil Tate at Arizona for Kevin Sumlin. Sumlin with 75% of his team coming back. I have them winning 8 for the Arizonas. Oregon, number 4. I'm not in love with Mario Cristobal, but he has possibly the best quarterback of about 6 of them, Justin Herbert, and they should win about 8 and finish 4th. I had Stanford ahead of USC until today, and then I dropped them down to 3rd just to piss Billy off. And David Shaw, the coach, will probably win about 8. Costello, another one of those quarterbacks you rarely hear about, but he just keeps the game intact and doesn't commit too many errors. And their special teams are just super. USC 2nd. I don't know whether Fink or Daniels, the freshman, are going to start at quarterback, but Darnold had 27 turnovers last year, so that's a hell of a lot for a superstar. But I think they're going to win 9 for Clay Helton. And Washington, the best, Chris Peterson, one of the top coaches around. When you give him Browning and 75% of his players coming back, that means 11 and a win in the conference championship.
All right.
Nice. Well, we're not the same this time. That's the good news. But we are in the first one, Oregon State. Oregon State, one of the most disappointing teams that I watched last year. I don't think that they're going to – too many things have changed. They're obviously doing some rebuilding. Number 12 with about 3 wins. I have my number 11 at Washington State. I believe that there's a lot of rebuilding to be done in that school as well. And obviously with a little bit of controversy and the things that happened last year, that stuff will weigh on the team when they get into the season.
Yeah.
Playing in a conference like this, where you're talking about 12 teams that 7 or 8 of these teams can easily make bowl games.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be very challenging. I think a lot of these teams will jump out of the box quickly because of their schedule, like their off season schedule, I guess it is.
Right.
But we'll see what happens with that. I have number 10 with Arizona State, only returning 11 starters. That might be a little bit of a challenge for Herm Edwards, but the probably arguably the best wide receiver crew as a whole, as a unit in the league. So we'll see if that pans out to them being able to put some points up.
Mm-hmm.
I have number 9. I have Cal. They were 5-7 last year, and I really kind of see them right in that same spot, right around 5-7. Number 8, I have Arizona. For not any other reason but the fact that they're basically a 500 team, and I kind of see this with the 3 teams that are coming up. Whoops, you know what? Number 9 should have been Colorado. I apologize for that.
Okay.
I had it circled and it made a mistake. And then for number 7, I had Cal. But the way that I look at the 9 through 6 teams, which the 6 team would be UCLA, Cal, Arizona, and Colorado, they're going to be kind of just jockeying to try to win that 6th game.
To get to that magic number 6.
Yeah, to get to the bowl.
Yeah.
Number 5, I have Oregon. I think that the fact that they do not play USC this year is going to weigh well for them.
Oh, yeah.
That gives them the opportunity to not play basically one of the top teams in the league. So I think that that's going to open them up a little bit. I do think that they're going to be better than they have been the previous few years.
But nobody's afraid to play Oregon anymore.
That's right.
There used to be that wow factor.
Yep.
What uniform are they going to show up with? How many times they're going to change? And just racking up, zillions of yards.
Well, and I'm kind of looking forward to seeing Chip Kelly, what he did with Oregon at that time when he's got a Dorian Thompson-Robinson under center. Maybe not this year, but next year.
Yeah.
UCLA does have the transfer from Michigan.
Yeah.
That's coming into play. He did get a concussion, got knocked out for the season, or really not really out for the season because of that, but his season wasn't the same, I guess the best way to put it, until he ended up not playing the last few games of the season, which helped Michigan a little bit. But
well, thank you, JB, for picking them 6.
Yep. That's right. I mean, we're friends here, but whatever.
Yeah. Cough.
So number 4, I have or Utah. I've already said that. Number 3, I have USC. This is really, again, we talk a lot about these top-heavy conferences when you're talking about the better teams. Stanford, USC, and Washington, any one of these teams can win. If USC won the whole thing, I wouldn't be surprised. But just for the sake of the fact that we have to rank them, I'm ranking them number 3.
Okay.
I do find it interesting that they have this quarterback battle going on between Fink and Sears and Daniels, which is a true freshman. It's going to be really interesting to see how this comes together. You have guys that are just a couple weeks from playing. They're still got all 3 of their names in there. Not as much Sears, but Fink and Daniels are really up there. But you're talking about a true freshman, that's going to come in there and possibly run this USC team against UNLV in week 1, which should be an easy way to start the season. But number 2, I have Stanford. Of any of the players that I'm really looking forward to watching this year, Brian Love, Bryce Love. Brian Love. Is it Bryce or Brian?
Brian is a Beach Boy. Yeah, I just kidding.
So it must be Bryce.
No, actually, Brian Wilson was a Beach Boy.
anyway, Love, the running back for Stanford,
Right.
was talked about coming out and actually being a lottery pick, like a top pick in the NFL last year. He ended up wanted to finish his career at Stanford,
Yeah.
and then come out next year. This guy's got Heisman written all over him if he plays to his ability. I think that's going to be a huge he's going to be a huge weapon for Stanford. You're talking about them being probably the most solid running back wise team in the Pac-12, mainly because of him. But he does have some supporting staff.
Oh yeah.
Number one in the division, probably the best offensive team and the best defensive team is Washington. I don't think they're ranked in the division with the top defensive line, the top DBs, the top wide receivers. I mean, you can't really talk too much more about what these guys are doing.
So the blueprint is there for them too.
They have absolutely every weapon at their disposal that they need. Again, it's going to come down to like these big games.
Yeah.
When you get
every
down
week there's going to be a big game in the Pac-12.
Absolutely. So when you play this USC team or you play this Stanford team, those games are going to be big, and one game could make a difference in the schedule.
Yeah. And winning it all?
I'm going with Washington.
Okay. All right.
And because of the way that the conference sits, hold on one second. I was looking at that earlier, but I scrolled off of it. Because of the way that the conference sits, obviously Washington and USC would have to play if they played each other because Stanford and Washington are on the same side.
Right.
So I think that will be the championship game.
Essentially the Stanford-Washington game.
Well, that's
de facto championship.
Right,
game.
exactly.
Right.
Yeah. So in the event that whatever team wins that is going to play is going to probably play USC, and then it's kind of a toss-up at that point. I think Stanford can beat USC. I think that Washington is good enough to beat either team.
All right. Okay, we're now at the Big 12.
Right on schedule. 42 minutes, four conferences left to go. Good job, Billy.
He knows what he's doing.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go to the Big 12. We have 10 teams, and let's start off with the Hugh Jackson. No, I didn't mean him. David Beatty, the Hugh Jackson of college. 3 wins, 33 losses, and still has a job. Beautiful. 91% return for this school, and yet they're going to maybe win 2.
What school is this? I'm sorry, George.
This will be Kansas from Kansas. Okay?
Got it.
Got it. Number 9, tough to say it, but this is the year he may get fired, Mr. Kingsbury. Number 9, Texas Tech. Whoever's quarterbacking, they got Carter and Duffy going at each other. They're going to all have nice numbers and everything, but 5 or 6 wins is the max that they're going to figure out how to do. Baylor has the biggest rise of anybody in my book. They go from 1 to 6. And as far as wins go, and I got them 8 under Matt Rule. Nothing really sticks out at it, but they have many a transfer. They got a Tennessee wide receiver, an NC State quarterback, Clemson an offensive tackle, and a Texas A&M DL. So they're trying to get back to where they were at, and I got them 8th. Iowa State 7. Not as many miracles as last year. I got them winning 6. Kyle Kemp leading the quarterback brigade, and he's going to be key to them, and they should be okay at 7. 6, West Virginia, Helgerson, 7 wins with Will Greer. Greer, one of those 5 quarterbacks who are going near the top of the draft. I don't know, I assume he's a senior. And 7 wins for West Virginia. Number 5 is Mr. Snyder. As I said, it's around till 83, maybe. His son is like 60-something, and he's going, boy, this was a good career move. I'm sorry, Alex Delton, the quarterback, he'll be leading them to their usual 7-5 record, and they'll be all happy. Oklahoma State, they don't have a quarterback that I even know about, but Gundy will figure out something to take care of it. I'm seeing them dropping down a little bit to 8 wins instead of 9. They still have the running backs and the receivers to do a lot of damage. TCU, defensively about as good as anybody. Offensively, they'll try to rely on the run a little bit more. 52% back, 8 wins for Gary Patterson and TCU. I'm moving Herman up to number 2, my old Ohio State offensive coordinator. He's going to take Texas to number 2. Sam Ellinger has actually moved ahead of his fellow, who's the other guy they have? Bushel or something like that. Anyway, not the point. Eight wins for Texas, and I think he'll make some good moves up the chart. Oklahoma's still number 1. Lincoln Riley did a hell of a job as a coach. 53% back. Their quarterback, who knows Murray is the quarterback, I guess. But I see them still with 11 or 12 wins. They got enough to still win the Big 12. Oklahoma will play Texas, and Oklahoma will win the title.
Okay. Looks like we're got a lot of agreement. Okay, so Kansas, obviously, bottom feeders again. Is it Beatty? David Beatty? I don't know how.
Yes, Beatty. Yes.
I don't know how this dude
keeps the job.
But I guess it's important when it seems like he's able to get the guys, and it seems like they're going to turn the page and actually, become a team that becomes more competitive. But when you're playing the other teams in this conference, that are basically, they're not only outplaying you but outcoaching you, and they're getting better talent. It's difficult for them.
I think by game 4 or 5, they're all thinking, well, basketball's right around the corner.
Yeah.
And the worst thing, Jeff, is that I rate them. I didn't do it for this because it's conference, but I rate them all from 1 to 130. They're 40 points higher, or low, at like around 100. The next one is 60. So there's 40 places in between that that is the biggest jump of anything I've ever seen.
Yeah. No, I agree with that as well. So at number 9, I have Texas Tech. A team that can obviously score, but they cannot stop anybody. They were just not really in many games last year, because of their defense.
Right.
They would come down, maybe score on the first drive, and then give up like 3 straight scores, and then they have to throw the ball from there.
Then they're playing catch up constantly.
Right, which was not one of their better suits. I do think that Baylor will be my number 8 team is Baylor. I do think that Baylor is going to be a better team, but just in this top heavy conference again, I don't really see them doing a whole lot. My number 7 team, I have Kansas State. For no particular reason, they're a 6-win team with Iowa State. That's also a 6-win team. Iowa State was one of the funnest teams to watch last year. They had a couple of huge upsets,
yeah.
and they really were in games and made you bite your nails to watch these games.
Yeah, and then suddenly they were the team nobody wanted to play.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I do see them winning 6-7 games. Number 5, I had Oklahoma State.
You mean number 6?
Okay, so I had Kansas State at number 6. Kansas State number 7.
Right.
Iowa State number 6.
Okay.
Oklahoma State at number 5.
Got it.
For no particular reason, again, all of these teams in the middle of this division, to me, are very evenly matched. When I look at the way that Oklahoma State played last year offensively, I honestly thought that they were going to be a 10-win team. They couldn't, put it together. Their quarterback did get drafted, I think, in the 3rd or 4th round. You might be able to see this guy in the NFL in a couple of years. I think Dallas actually got him, which is I hate when Dallas gets people
Who's
that I
that?
like. What's that?
Who's that?
The quarterback from Oklahoma State last year. Pittsburgh. Okay.
Mason Rudolph.
Yeah, that's a much better play. I like him better. Okay, so my number 4, I have West Virginia. To me, arguably one of the best quarterbacks in this class. Last year, 34 touchdowns in 11 games, about 3,500 yards. Pretty impressive for a team that has a pretty balanced attack. Mm-hmm. I mean, West Virginia does run the ball. So when you got a quarterback that's throwing for 3,500 yards and they can still run the ball, it's kind of a dangerous thing. But I am going to drop them down to 4 just because my number 3 team, TCU, has such a great defense.
Yeah.
And when you have a defense like TCU, it's going to keep you in any game. They showed in many games last year that they were right there. The games that they didn't win, they were competitive in. And it was kind of exciting to watch. My number 2 team, Texas, and for a lot of the same reasons. I think the Texas defense, like as a unit, I like to look at defense and offense as units.
Right.
And as a unit, you have one of the best D-line, especially in that conference, the best linebackers in that conference, and the best DBs in that conference, all on Texas. I think that makes a huge difference when you're picking these games, because they say defense wins championships. It's going to get them up there to play in the finals. Oklahoma wins the whole thing. They win the regular season. They win the championship. They have the best running backs, the second best wide receivers, second best offensive line in the league.
And a Red River rivalry.
I don't really think anyone's going to be able to compete with them. But I want to let you guys know, when people say Boomer Sooner, that bugs the crap out of me. And I don't know why it is, but for some reason that just really rubs me the wrong way.
Boomer Sooner.
Boomer Sooner.
Watch out for Will Greer. I'm excited to watch this guy play.
All right, gents. Let's see.
ACC.
We are at the ACC.
Yes.
Is that 14 teams? Ooh.
14 teams, and this is the conference that from 14 to 1. I mean, I know they don't all have a chance. Clemson's in, but it is the closest packed conference around as far as mediocre teams go, or better than average teams. It is really a great conference from top to bottom. Even Virginia with Bronco doing his job, I got them at about 4 to 5 wins, and they're getting better. They just if they could find a quarterback, they lost their last quarterback. He was good last year, but they don't know what they're doing yet. There's a Perkins guy who's out of dual threat. Maybe he'll take it, but I got them with on number 14. 13, Pittsburgh with Pat Narduzzi. I got them to win 5. The defense returns a lot, but the offense is definitely in flux, and the schedule is just brutal for them. Brutal. Number 12, Dino and Syracuse. I got them from between 5 and 6 wins. One of these days, well, Dungy has had officially 7 concussions in 3 years, and he's the quarterback, and he hasn't lasted a year. So if you knew he was the quarterback, I'd pull him up. But I personally, with 7 concussions, would be at home. But that's the way it goes. But I got them 5 to 6 wins. Number 12. Number 11, Larry Fedora, North Carolina, getting back a little bit from the 3 wins from last year. I got them going 5 wins or 6 wins. They'll be running the ball a lot. Georgia Tech, Paul Johnson, at number 10, quarterback Taquan Marshall can do it all, but he has to step up and be a little bit better passing the ball. And but I still have them at number 10 with 6 wins. Wake Forest, Dave Clawson, one of the most remarkable coaches. Real fast, he's rebuilt 4 teams in different divisions: Fordham, Richmond, Bowling Green, and Wake Forest. That's how good he is. And he's a tremendous coach, and I'll give him 6.5 or 6-7 wins and go number 9. David Cutcliffe, Duke, similar, nice coach, 6-7 wins also for him. He's got Daniel Jones at quarterback, which helps him sleep at night a little bit better. Boston College is totally as their defense. Steve Adazio loves defense, and there's the linebackers, defensive backs are good. The running back and the offensive line is good. Quarterback, we'll see. Quarterback Brown did some good stuff last year, the second half. If he can continue that, 7 wins is very possible for Boston College. NC State, weird team, 7 drafted players highly, and yet they lost 4 of them. Did they leave a lot of wins on the table? We'll see this year with Ryan Finley, the quarterback. I got them winning 7 and ranked number 6. 5, Bobby Petrino. What a name! Was it Javon Puma Pass? That's their new quarterback. There you go. Puma. Yes, we got them to win 7. I'll give the benefit of the doubt for Petrino, and although they only have 46% returning. Number 5. Number 4, Florida State with Willie Taggart. Finally, after about 12 moves, he gets to his home state, and he's done it in about 2 years, and that's not bad. Every position is strong, from Francois or Blackman all the way down to the special teams. I got them winning only 8, though, because they're going to I'm not in love with Taggart as a coach. Number 3, and dropping rapidly, Fuentes, Virginia Tech. I had them number 2 about 2 weeks ago. They've lost their whole defensive backfield. First, it started with Alexander going in the supplemental draft, and 3 of their defensive backs have hurt themselves or transferred, all starters. That's going to be a tough blow for them, so they'll probably end up being lower when the season starts. But right now I got them number 3, Joshua Jackson, avoided suspension, and he'll be their quarterback for Virginia Tech. Number 2, Mark Richt, has Miami headed in definitely the right direction. Rozier was named the starting quarterback. He's got all the positions sealed up and has a nice game plan. Key game. LSU in a neutral field should be the key game right there. I got them for 10 wins. And number 1, Clemson. Go figure. Just amazing. The 2 facts that get me: Bryant, the quarterback, could lose his job to a 5-star Lawrence if he doesn't perform as well. And I was listening to something. If you put their second-string defensive line together, they would be one of the top 10 defensive lines in football. Just the second string, and that's not including the third string, the first string. I'm sorry. I got them with 12 wins, which tells you that's undefeated.
All right.
Okay, so for number 14, I have Virginia, 4-win team. Number 13, NC State with 4 wins. Then it gets a little bunched because a lot of these teams I think are teams that can make bowls. But I'm going to go number 12, Pitt, number 11, Syracuse, number 10, Duke, number 9, Boston College, number 8, Wake Forest, which is probably better than that, but I do think that this is a team that can win 6-7 games and compete in a lot of these games. Louisville I have at number 7, which is the same thing, 6-7, maybe even possibly 8 games. Juwan Pass is going to be a good replacement for
Puma Pass.
Puma Pass. I mean, I'm sorry. He's going to be a good replacement for the young man that moved into Baltimore, which has played a couple of good preseason games.
Yeah.
I'm kind of really liking this guy, especially they said Lamar Jackson could never play in the NFL. I remember one of the recruits.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And which was to me like, what are you talking about? And this guy's already proved him wrong. He had a couple nice runs in the first game, so we'll see what happens with that. Number 6, I have Georgia Tech. Number 5, I have NC State, who to me has one of the best wide receiving core groups in this particular division. They might have lost a bit too many to possibly be able to compete at a higher level, but I do see them coming in 5th. Number 4, I have Florida State. Number 3, West Virginia. Number 2, Miami. And say no more, Clemson, number 1.
Front runner.
Clemson, best line, second best linebackers, best DBs. Normally I say in the conference, but this literally could be in football, like definitely in the top 5 of all of these 3 categories, which is huge. You hit it right on the head with Trevor Lawrence, also a true freshman, again, another true freshman that could compete for a starting job at Clemson. You know, when you see these guys, these young guys that are like literally like 18, 19 years old,
Yeah.
you know, competing against guys that are in their 20s that have already have a couple years under their belt, that to me shows how huge it is this recruiting is.
Yeah.
You know, when you're looking at these guys and they're able to pick up these top recruits constantly. Clemson picks up 5-star at every position. Clemson easily wins 11 games. I could possibly see them going undefeated as well.
Well, they know that given the recent track record, that arguably they're going to be in the discussion about the national championship.
Of course.
And that helps.
Yep.
You know, certainly with regard to
the
recruiting.
last time they were in the playoffs, they did hang a goose egg on a particular team. Was that 38-0, something like that?
Yeah, it was. Can't remember that team now.
Yeah, George, you know.
We went out
remember?
to. That was before that was a bad night in my night. But everybody has a bad night.
Oh, you're not kidding. bad nights and days.
And we can go right into that, to the bad night. That was Ohio State for the people who didn't know.
Yeah. We are, and speaking of Ohio State, it's time for the Big Ten. Drum roll, please.
All right. We have time now with only 24 minutes. Oh, you got to get out early. But I'll go to number 14 right off the bat. The last year that Lovie Smith will be at your beloved Illinois, he may get up to 4 wins. But when your special teams is your most successful unit, just doesn't work. Number 13, Rutgers. I feel sorry for Rutgers because they have to play every team in November: Whiskey, Michigan, Penn State, Michigan State, and they get better and better, but they're just not. It's too hard of being in that certain area there. But number 13 is Chris Ash.
Yeah, you're not kidding.
Yeah, Indiana, Tom Allen, same boat. He's only had one. They've had one winning season, 07, since 1994. Moral victories are no longer allowed, as he said. Well, they're going to probably get more of them anyway, but we'll give them a 5. The twin heads of Dawkins I believe he was from Arizona or Arizona State, probably Arizona, the one that Tate took over, and Ramsey should give him some very good quarterback play. Just have to settle on one of them. One runs has the arm, one has the legs, so they'll have to figure out which one. That's number 12, Indiana. Number 11, Minnesota. Fleck has found that this is not as easy of a job as he thought, and he has not had a good start, but 6 to 7 wins this year will get him going, and then with his normal players, with his drafted players, he'll start moving up again. Back to number 10, the school that has taken a lot of heat off of Ohio State, Maryland, number 10. I don't know where they're going to go, where their head's going to be at, but a good start was the president admitting mistake on the death of his offensive tackle and moving on with the family and hugging him and everything. So
yeah,
it's
absolutely
kind of a cleansing.
tragic.
It doesn't bring back a child, but it does at least. I don't know. It's just.
Well, I was glad to see he came out and just took responsibility for it,
exactly.
As opposed to let's get all the facts in, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Exactly.
They still need to get all the facts in to ensure that some other young man or young woman doesn't have to go through this sort of thing.
And I'll give them about a 6 wins. It rated 10th. Nebraska, everybody thinks they're going to go right to the top. Well, it's not. It's year 0 for them. It's going to take patience. Frost will probably turn it around in a few years, but right now I have him 9th. He's starting a freshman quarterback named Martinez. The running game only had 108 yards per game running. That's not going to really make him feel too happy. So he'll be there, but it's going to take a minute, just like Chip Kelly in UCLA to get the team together. I got him with 6 wins and number 7. Jeff Braun, I love this guy's ad. He's proven himself as a coach. I think he's doing really well. I got him to win 6 games this year. He's got the double sword of Sinclair and Blau to quarterback, so whoever he wants, who's better that day, will take care of it. I got them number 8 and moving up the ladder. Northwestern.
Sorry, George. Number 8 is.
8 is Purdue. I'm sorry. Couldn't you read my paper?
I'm just sorry.
Through the phone. Northwestern, number 7. All depends on Mr. Thorsten. I've been trying to look up him for the last week. He says that he's going to play. The coach says we'll see. The stuff behind him at quarterback is not nearly good enough. But I only see him winning 6 because even when he comes back, I've had an injured. I had body injury early in my life, and you don't really, for about a year, to me, you kind of pull up instead of driving through, and I think that's going to affect him a lot, in my opinion. Number 6, Iowa, in his 20th year, Mr. Ferentz coming back for his 20th year. I got him winning about 8. Nathan Stanley, nothing wonderful, nothing bad, but he will run the machine. He also has no Ohio State, Michigan, or Michigan State, and Whiskey and Nebraska at home, so that'll help get him to number 6. 5, Michigan State, Mark D'Antonio, 92% returning players. I got him with 9 wins this year, or I got Michigan State with 9 wins. Lewerke, whatever. I apologize for butchering his name. Another one that just controls it and doesn't try to lose the game for them. Michigan, number 4. Harbaugh, 9 wins. Shea Patterson comes over from Mississippi after getting his well-deserved reprieve from Mississippi and getting it eligible right away, which should have happened months before that, but it didn't. He should help them if he can lower his interceptions. Number 3, Penn State, James Franklin, another one. McSorley could be one of the top 5 quarterbacks around. I don't care what the backs is. The running backs, you lose Barkley, you're going to lose something. Not only that, and kickoffs and the other stuff. So I kept them at 3, but I could have put them up. I got them with 9 wins. Number 2, Wisconsin. They have a very underrated quarterback, that Alan Hornbrook. Isn't not mentioned very much, but they have that stinking defense that still is going to be one of the top 10 in the country, and they're not bad at offense too, at getting things. And then of course that Ohio State team, they have to put up with this little incident and everything, but I still think they're going to win 11, and Haskins is going to be much better than Barrett, even though he had all of the kudos and everything. I think that I think he did not have a career that was as good as people thought. So, and then we have your Bishop Gorman Martell out there, who's itching to get in as the running quarterback, and they have specific plays for him that they're going to be doing that. So number 1, Ohio State with 11 wins.
All right.
All righty.
Well, you won't hear me saying that. I'm just kidding. Number 14, we have Illinois. I do agree that Lovie Smith, if he was going to do anything, he would have done it. And
I'd like to think so.
You would think that this guy's an ex-NFL guy, and that's mainly probably the reason why they brought him in.
Yeah.
You know, Chicago guy. You know.
Yeah.
You know, you would think, but this is another division to me, similar to the Pac-12, where you're going to have a lot of teams that are in the 6 to 7 win category. So I'm just going to run down. I think Illinois and Rutgers 14-13. Both of those teams are 2 to 3 win teams. Rutgers did surprise me last year. Won their very first Big Ten game, and then they went on to win their second and third. So, I mean, kind of shocked a little people, but it was I think a little because of the lower end teams weren't really that good.
No, and I think everybody had them as a gimme.
So I think a lot of those teams are going to be the same. Indiana I have as 12, Minnesota 11, Northwestern at 10. Those are all 6-win teams in my opinion. Maryland at number 9, same thing, 6-win team. My number 8 team, Nebraska. I'm kind of rooting for them for a couple of different reasons. One, we got a couple local guys on there. I always liked Frost. I mean, the fact that he went undefeated, took an 0-13 team to a 13-0 team. Now he's going to Nebraska. He's kind of shown a little bit that he can turn it. Is the Big Ten a little bit more competitive than his previous division? Yes.
Yes.
So I am going to say that they're going to be a better team, but I'm still going to pick them number 8. I got Purdue at number 7 with 6 wins. I got Iowa at number 6 with 8 wins.
Wow.
These top 5 teams, I think the way that they finish is all going to be based upon how they play against each other. I do have Penn State as my number 5. They could easily be number 3. You know, I mean, the issue is when you're playing on the side of the division, on the east side of the division, when you play Ohio State, Michigan State, it's going to be a little bit more challenging. But I do have Penn State at 5. I have Michigan State at number 4, which Michigan State could beat any team this year, which is kind of like nobody's going to want to really play Michigan State, I guess is the best way to put it. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to put them at number 4. My number 3 team is Wisconsin. Wisconsin's got, Jonathan Taylor coming back at running back. They got Hornibrook as their quarterback. They got a bunch of talent. They got one of the most explosive offenses. They got a good defense. Going to be very good to watch. These last two teams, I'm going to give it. I think it'll literally go down to the end to see which one of these teams wins. Obviously, who wins the division is going to have to play Wisconsin more than likely. That's the way that I think Wisconsin could go from my 3 to number 1, is if they beat these other two teams. I think that Michigan and Ohio State and Michigan are obviously always going to be very competitive with each other. With a lot of things up in the air with coaching, Urban Meyer and everything, we don't really know how all that stuff's going to land. I think Shea Peterson's a good quarterback. I like Devon Peoples-Jones for running back. They got Devin Bush in there as a linebacker. Probably end up one of the best linebackers in the country this year. But then you go to Ohio State. They got Nick Bosa, which is definitely a first-round draft pick. You have Devin Haskins, that's a great quarterback. You have Martell, Tate Martell, that we're obviously rooting for to get in.
Here.
Just because he's a Gorman guy, you and I were on the sideline at one of his games watching this guy completely dominate the championship game. It's great to watch these young guys that we watch play in high school.
Playing locally and then
play up at the highest level.
Playing on Saturdays.
But speaking of Ohio State, just to throw a bone or shot across the bow, did you catch Terrell Pryor get punked by the DB yesterday? Okay, so basically he got in a scrap with the DB. He had his full gear on, including his helmet. The DB had his helmet off, but he made the flinch move like he was going to hit him. And Pryor literally jumped out of the way and he literally got clowned, not only by his own teammates, by the other team, by just about everybody on Twitter. If you haven't seen it, I'll make sure I send it to you. It's pretty comical.
So number 2 or number 1, Michigan.
Number
Ohio
2,
State.
I like Michigan winning the whole thing, but obviously that's because I don't want to say Ohio State's going to. So I'm going to take Michigan to win it all. Ohio State number 2. But,
wow, that would be a double bitch slap, because it's at Ohio State. That would be you would really ruin me.
No, that would be great. Well, obviously, I'll just throw it out there. Ohio State's absolutely been dominant against Michigan the past several years.
Yeah.
I think they still have about 10 years to go to catch up at the overall.
Yeah, well, I had that argument with somebody until I realized it was their end of the dominance stopped in about 1980, so they were way ahead before that. Yeah, I understand.
That's okay. Still the winningest program, but whatever.
All right. Finally, last but not least, the SEC.
Alabama wins it all. Go ahead, George.
All right, we'll go with Vanderbilt at number 14. Derek Mason, the coach. I got him winning 4. Their highest glory they got is Shermer at quarterback, which gives them some kind of a chance. But they had their chance a couple years ago, and they really couldn't get over the hump. Now they're back to where they probably should be. Kentucky at 13. Mark Stoops, about 5 to 6 wins. They'll have a pretty good running back and running attack. But since you only had one SEC championship since 1950, and that was by Bear Bryant, I don't think this year is going to be any different. 13. That's 12 is some of Billy's friends wanted to know about this. Jeremy Pruitt and the Tennesseans. I got them at 12 with 5 to 6 wins. Pruitt was the defensive coordinator for Alabama, so he has good heritage. Well, I don't know what you call heredity, whatever. But it should be decent. But nothing yet. He'll build it. But 5, 6 wins for that, and that's it. Number 11, we have your Mississippi. I believe they're not bowling again this year. Matt Luke will have to do his run to try to get them to where they were last year. And 6-6 actually is very credible for a team who has nothing to look forward to. And I give them a lot of credit for that. Number 10, Arkansas, with Chad Morris coming, 71% returning. We got him winning 6, and he'll help that program out down the road. Number 9, Missouri, Barry Odom. He has one of the best in the world too, Drew Lock. But there's one stat that you can't go away against teams that go to the bowl. He was 0-6 against all the others, 7-0. So I look for another 7-win season from Missouri. Number 8, LSU. I don't have them rated nearly as well as everybody else does. 48% returning. As I told Billy, they had a four-man log jam at quarterback. It ended Monday when two of them within 13 minutes transferred both. So it's down to 2 quarterbacks, and that'll probably take care of that with Barrow, the one from Ohio State.
Problem
Miranda,
solved.
by the way, is one of the top defensive coordinators in the country, so you'll always see them be having a good defense. We'll give them 7 wins in number 8. Number 7, South Carolina. Muschamp is finally getting his act together. Bentley can't hurt at quarterback. I got them to win also 7, and they have a stellar defense also. 6, Texas A&M. Jimbo is here with a nice contract, and they unfortunately, and the schedule is done beforehand. Clemson and Alabama, they play both of them in September. That should probably tell you how they're going to be, pretty much. I got them for 8 wins, and number 6, Dan Mullen, Florida. He moves there from Miss State, I believe. He has Franks as a quarterback. I think they'll double their wins from 4 to 8. With the new coach. The sleeper of my sleepers is Mississippi State. Nobody's heard of Joe Moorhead, but he was the offensive coordinator for Penn State, and he moves here, one of the very under the radar pickups. And he knows how to win. And with Nick Fitzgerald, who can run and pass, I got him winning 8, but I wouldn't put it past them moving up and winning much more than that. They're strong at pretty much every position on the field. Number 3, Auburn, Malzahn. Stidham is the quarterback, formerly of Baylor. They got about 69% of their returning players coming back. I got them for 9 wins in number 3. Number 2, Kirby Smart in Georgia. Jake Fromm, and he's being pushed already by the freshman Fields. I have them at 11 wins, so they're going to only lose 1 in my estimation. In Alabama, no matter which quarterback goes, I just feel they're going to sweep the board, go 12-0, and beat Georgia in the conference championship, and I'm done.
Okay. So we only have a couple more minutes, so I'm going to rattle right through here. My 14 team, I have Vandy. They're a 3-4 win team. Number 13, I have at Kentucky. Number 12, I have Ole Miss. Which is unfortunate because I think that they should be better than that, but it's going to be a difficult year for them. Number 11, I have Tennessee. They probably win 5-6 games, and judging by the games that they gave away last year, they probably should be better than that. But unfortunately,
yeah.
The number 10 team, I have Missouri. Number 9, I have Arkansas. Number 8, Texas A&M. Number 7, Florida, which could easily flip-flop with Texas A&M. I think that both of those teams are going to be good. Number 6, LSU. I like the linebacker Devin White. He's a hell of a ball player. He's going to be great to watch. My sleeper team really for this division is South Carolina. I'm going to pick them to go 5th. Mississippi State number 4, Auburn number 3, Georgia number 1, which I do agree with George, maybe a 1 to 2 loss team.
Georgia number 1 or number 2?
And number 2, and then Alabama number 1. I don't see Alabama losing, which it hurts me to say that.
Yeah, pains me as well.
But I always hope that they lose. But if you start looking at this preseason, do we have enough time to do a preseason playoff? Okay, so I'm gonna roll it right now. Bama, Clemson, Washington, and Ohio State.
And the same. All right, guys. Once again, thank you guys so much. We did it. We got them all in.
With minutes to spare.
With a few minutes to spare, enough for you guys to pick your final 4. And, you picked your final 4. In fact, we got a couple of minutes left. And on the basis of your final 4, who do you see winning it all?
I think Alabama's going to be tough to beat, but Clemson is completely stacked. I mean, so how can you even deny them? Ohio State, how they going to react to this recent stuff that's going on is going to be the big thing.
Nothing's going to happen.
Well, I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. But I do think Washington is definitely going to represent the West Coast. So I'm going to go Clemson wins it all.
I'm going Ohio State just because I can, and I'm tired of hearing about that Meyer is going to be gone.
Myers is not going anywhere.
I hope he
folks.
He's not going anywhere, buddy.
He's not
When the
going
mother,
anywhere.
when the mother of the woman that is claiming the abuse says that her daughter is full of bullshit, okay, mothers don't go against their own kids. All right, that's a telltale.
Well, again, it's not like nobody's accusing Urban of beating this man's wife.
No,
They're only just questioning what he knew, when he knew it, and how come he didn't come forward. He's not going anywhere, folks.
If he gets
he's gonna
taken
be there.
down, then the Michigans with the gymnasts and all that, they should all be fired with him.
Oh, they
They
should.
say,
I think they were.
Much worse.
That's
than
Michigan
that.
State, by the way.
Yeah.
Don't get it twisted.
Make sure it's green and white,
That's
not
right. Green and white.
not
Not
maize and blue.
baby.
All right. Again, folks, thank you so much for joining us. George, as always, thank you so much, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you both. I know that you both put a lot of work into this, and this is always one of the more fun shows that we have all year. And so I appreciate everybody. If you had a chance, to tune in tonight to listen, and of course, watch the video as it comes out later on. But join us next Wednesday. It'll be the 22nd, back to 6 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, for another installment of Southern Nevada Sports News coming to you from WWDBTV.com. Have a great week.
God bless.
Good night.